Greetings, everyone. My name is Bahle Dlamini from the Advancement and Alumni Relations Unit Office. Today we are doing our first skills workshop, of which is the personal branding. I'm with Mrs. Gita Winter from the Recruiters Care. Just to give you a bit of a background of Mrs. Gita, Gita has 16 years of broad recruitment experience. She's one of less than 10 people on the continent to hold an individual staffing master designation. She is currently a board member of the recruitment industry governing body. She's also passionate about youth development and empowering people with the knowledge and skills to succeed. To this end, she funded Recruiters Care to give recruiters a platform to make a meaningful change. I will now hand over to Mrs. Gita to facilitate the session. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Welcome to everybody in our first skills development workshop. I really want to say to everybody that's attending today that for this early on in the year, you should give yourselves a pat on the back. And more than that, you should know that you are taking great strides to stand out in this job market. And every little bit about standing out counts in a market like ours, especially with youth unemployment. So good on all of you. I'm going to start sharing. So if anybody doesn't see, just let me know. Wait, I have to share first and then change the slides. Right. Let's go back to the top. Everybody good? We can all see? Somebody can just let me know, please.
Yes, we can see.
Fabulous. Thank you so very much. Okay. So we've had enough lectures up until now, so I really don't want to lecture everybody. It is far better if it's participative, and this is about personal branding. So if you are comfortable to talk, please put your video on when you ask a question, or if not, because really it is about this. So let's have a look. It should be fun. This should be about learning, but not about lecturing. You're definitely going to get more by participating. So please ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and something that you ask might spark a conversation that will genuinely help others. So please stop me at any time. Hold your questions to the end. I'm comfortable either way. So I'm really good to engage as we move. Okay. And like I said, this is about personal branding. So if your cameras are on, that is preferred, especially if we ask questions and engage. Sorry, somebody's not muted. Can we please mute somebody? Right. So here's our...
You battle every day not wanting to be here.
Sorry, can we mute,
the same way,
please?
but I just want you to know that.
Sorry, can that person mute your mic, please? Sorry.
No worries. Okay, somebody needs to still mute. Okay, but here's our first opportunity to participate and engage. So if I were to say to you, pick a bottle. Oh, God. Sorry, I'm going to give you a second. Can we ask everybody to mute, please? There are still a bunch of people unmuted. Okay, so let's go. You can put it in the chat, which I can't read at the moment, or you can unmute and shout out. If I said to you, we're going into the fridge at a Pick and Pay or wherever, pick one of these bottles. Which one would you choose? Anybody? No need to be shy. Unmute. Which one would you pick? Yes.
I'll pick the one in the middle.
The one in the middle. Okay, that's a good answer. Can you tell me why? Doesn't matter really why, but just out of interest, why the middle?
Okay, since I'm a guy, I can be technical about stuff.
Go
Um,
for it.
the one in the middle because the other two are making it more cooler.
Okay, fair enough. Good one. Thank you for participating. Appreciate it. Right. Because now I want you to think about this a little bit. So when I show you the next one and you make a choice now, we want to talk about a little bit why this might be different. Pick one now.
Number two.
The one in the
Number
middle.
two. The one in the middle. Okay, I happen to agree with you. My answers might be different this time, but the one in the middle would be my choice too. Tell me why. Why number two?
Well, it's the most reliable brand, most trusted brand. So, yeah,
Yes.
so
Is
that's
that
why.
all?
And it's in the middle, like I said.
The magic middle. Yes, there was a hand I saw. I think it was Emangeni, I think it was. Yes, you're welcome to go ahead. If you've got your hand up, you can just talk. Which one would you pick?
I'd also pick the one in the middle because of the bottle shape. I feel
Okay.
like it would be easier to hold than the other ones, which are like much more bigger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes. Next one. Who has your hand up? And NM is the initial. Sorry, I can't see anything else. Which one would you pick?
I'd pick the second one.
Also Coke. Fab. Man after my own heart. Right. I think it was Alison or Sue. Everybody can just shout out, but I think we're good for now.
I think number one, because the color blue is attractive to me.
Fabulous. I'm glad to hear a different answer. Nice one. Thank you for that.
Ginta,
Right. I think it was Sue. Yes,
yes, good afternoon, Ginta. I hope you can hear me.
I can.
Yes, my hand was also up. So, I would pick either the first or the second. Reason being,
Mhm.
It's not about the position, as has been as it has been previously said. It's not about being in the middle or being on the left or on the right. But my reason for picking either one or two is because I know those brands. I know Pepsi, which is the first, and I know Coca-Cola, which is the second. But the third one, Kingsley Corner, I know that's not a brand that I'm familiar with. So these two that I could either pick is because I'm familiar with.
If I said you have to choose one or two, which one would it be?
Then it would be Coca-Cola, not because number two, not because it's in the middle, because I've known the brand for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. And it's really interesting because, we all have different reasons for choosing a specific brand. And it's either because we trust it, which is important, important to note, or we like the look of it, also important, but it speaks to us in some way. So for me, Coca-Cola, I prefer the taste of Coke. Hands down, it will never be a question for me. I will choose Coke over something else 9 times out of 10. But I also genuinely enjoy the brand. I love what the brand stands for. So when you see Coca-Cola, there's a couple of things that stand out for me. The first is that Coca-Cola spreads the concept of sharing. So every advert that they have, Coke has a sharing concept. There's other people involved. It also has, if you go back, and maybe I'm showing my age, but years and years ago, Coke used to have this entire happiness campaign, which is really lovely. And I really affiliate myself with that. But then Coke also went and put your names on Coke. So that made a very, very personal connection with you. For some of us on this call, our names are never going to be on Coke, including my name, which is really devastating. But does that deter me from buying Coke? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The other thing that Coke does particularly well is if you go into any small town, a spaza shop, small supermarkets, anything of the like, I almost guarantee you that Coca-Cola branding is on the store sign outside. They sponsored that sign firstly to help the store owner create their own brand, but secondly, so that they have presence and visibility everywhere. And those are important things to remember. Now, I want you to take this into consideration of your own brand. So when we're thinking about you as your brand, really what you're wanting to do is, for some of us, we want to be the middle one. For some of us, we want to be the attractive blue one. And for most of us, we want to be the brand that somebody feels a connection to and picks before or ahead of any other choice that is presented to them. So when you're in doubt, I want you to go back to this example, or the brands that you love for that matter, because it's not, doesn't have to be these drinks, and really think about what is it about this brand and what do they do that maintains consistency. Now, Coke is one of the most well-known purchased products worldwide in the soft drink market, yet they still advertise. They still put themselves out there. They're still consistent in their branding, in their marketing, in the way that they engage with the public, their buying consumers. And we as brands should be no different at all. Okay. So let's have a look at what a brand actually is. So it's very, very similar to a product, really very similar. And in terms of branding yourself, there's a lot of marketing concepts that apply to us as well. But in essence, a personal brand is two parts, the personal versus the professional side. And you can't really separate them. You're one person. You don't walk around as two separate entities. So your personal side is your values, your beliefs, your personality, the way that your actions show up in real world. Your professional brand is your career, your expertise, your skills, your development. It's the way that the professional brand actually shows up. But there's two parts to that. So as a professional, you also have a personality. You also a person. And really what that means is that how somebody from the outside or people that you engage with, whether it be on campus, your lecturers, your colleagues, or people at work, or recruiters or hiring managers, or anybody for that matter, perceive and view you. And that's really important. It's not what you think you are. It's what I think you are that matters. And sometimes you can say, oh, but that's not fair because people see each other differently. And that's true. But you have to be mindful of what the majority of people view you as. Because if it is not what you want it to be, now's the chance to see what it is that you do to make it a holistic brand that is actually representative of you. It's really not a static thing. Your brand grows as you do. So yes, I've been in recruitment 16 years and I'm old enough to live pre-LinkedIn and pre-social media. But my brand evolved with that tech. If you go and look at my earlier content, my earlier career, it is vastly different from what it is that you see me as now. So every time it's grown, changed, I've edited, I've adapted, I've learned, I've applied different things to tell a different story. Much like Coke, much like Pepsi. There wasn't a Pepsi back in the day when Coke was the prime thing. There was no Kingsley. So all of Coke has had to adapt itself to the market it finds itself in as well. You need to do the same. Interestingly, your brand has a very strong connection with emotional intelligence, that EQ side. And this is particularly true when you are entering a workplace or when you are looking to interview Or for that matter, when you're standing out for a bursary, for a work integrated learning opportunity, EQ has a big part to play in your brand. And there's three main factors I want us to really think about here. Self-awareness is, do you understand your own triggers and the emotions that are attached to that? So what sets you off and how are you typically reacting? Then empathy is how you connect, understand, and try to work with other people who have their own triggers, their own emotions, their own bad days. So how are you engaging with them? And then self-regulation is really how you are responding, not reacting at all. And that is critical in a workplace. Reaction is bad, response is good, response is considered. And all of these things really give a picture of whether you have an ability to remain calm and composed in a stressful or antagonistic or confrontational type of environment. It's, are you listening to understand or listening to respond? And whether that listening and understanding then extends into asking for help and applying what you've been told and how you learn from that. And then really it's showing whether you are dependable, reliable, and are the kind of employee or person that is going to grow with the organization, not cause havoc. And that's really why it matters, because in a market like we are, standing out, paramount for you. I mean, I'll give you a real example. If you want to go and check my LinkedIn, I actually put the actual numbers there. I advertised a SEMA graduate position. Within half an hour, I had 700 emails. By the close of business the following day, I had over 2,000. Now, when I, as the recruiter, have that, that face exactly, by the end of, I'm still getting applications for that position that was advertised more than a month ago. So when I'm spoiled for choice, and I've got 2,500 graduates applying for that position, you genuinely want to catch my interest. You genuinely want to show up differently because you want to be Coke. You want to be my first choice. Any questions on the connection between EQ and your brand, or the marketing of Coke concept to your brand? Okay, stop. Yes, there's a question. You're welcome to answer. To ask. Sorry. The initials are SN. The person that put their hand up. You're welcome to unmute and ask.
So, ma'am, I wanted to know, right, that what you're saying is that all our personal traits and how we portray ourselves within others is the strong connection that will grow our personal branding. Is that what you're saying?
I'm absolutely saying that. So so as an example now, right? Let's take right now. Let's say the fact that you are able to ask a question says to me that you're portraying a level of confidence that you're okay to put yourself out there and ask for help. That is a critical workplace skill, the ability to ask questions for your own development. So that would be a personal brand trait that you would have. But the fact that you listened to what I said is demonstrating that that emotional brand, or that EQ, that would be something that I would consider when I'm looking at you versus 2,500 other people. Absolutely. There was another hand up. You're welcome to ask.
Thank you. So what is of interest to me on this part about what branding is when you were talking about standing out, which you said is very paramount. But now what is also important. I understand perfectly good that standing out is very important, especially in a crowded job market. But what I must know as well, what should be clear to me, is how do I stand out? Because there are so many people that are after so many things that I'm going after, but how do I make myself stand out from all of them? So that's where I would like assistance on.
Perfect. And that is a very, very good question. Hopefully, I'll cover all of those points as we move along. But if we get to the end and you're still unsure, then you can just shout and we can talk about it a little bit more. Okay. So obviously, this is a 1.5 hour thing, so I can't go into exhaustive detail, but I'm going to give you hopefully enough to get yourself going. So please just remind me if I haven't covered what you want. Cool. Right. So building a brand takes time. And for you, those of you that are here, first workshop, first month, I am like, you guys are already ahead of this pack. There's 106 of you here on a student body of thousands. You're already standing out, right? So just take that into consideration. But it is not one task at a time. It is a lot of different things that all add up to contributing to a sustainable, consistent brand. And really, there's a number of steps to this. The first is development. Start early, ideally in your first year of university. So I can tell you that before my brand really started gaining traction, it probably took me about 3 years. To be fair, it was in the earlier stages of social media, so that could have been a contributory factor. But I have children that were recent graduates. And of course, it is maybe because I'm their mother, but I made my 2 boys start their LinkedIn profiles and develop their brands in matric already. By the time they entered university, they both probably had about 1,500 strategic connections. My eldest son has had his first 2 jobs from his personal brand on LinkedIn. And my youngest son has managed to he's changing careers at the moment, has managed to get job shadowing opportunities because of his LinkedIn profile. So it is possible. Yes, I did drive it, but that's what I'm doing for you today. I'm telling you what I told them. So this is how we get it done. So once you've developed it, once you've started, you need to maintain it. It's regular updates. You can't make a post in December 2024 and get around to it in June 2025. It just simply doesn't grow your brand at all. Coca-Cola, if you remember, I said it is consistent despite the fact that they're the best brand in the world. So you need to maintain your brand consistently, and we'll talk about that a little bit as well. You also need to audit it. Periodic checks to show that your brand aligns with your goals. It is, as I said earlier, I changed careers in my late 30s. My brand had to change with it. So will yours. When you go from university student into work integrated learning, into an internship, into your first year of work, into your next 5 and your next 10, your brand is going to change with you. But if you haven't audited to make sure that it is, then you have a significant problem. And then you need to refine and improve to adapt your brand. And that is the same as Coke remaining relevant in the face of extreme competition. This is what you need to do. You need to constantly be refining and improving to make sure that your brand remains Coke. Okay, so now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. How do we define your brand? So what it is that is your brand? And there's a couple of ways to think about it. So for Coke is an example for me. And how I translate Coke into what my brand is that I like to empower people. So Coke, helping small shops have branding, for me, doing what I'm doing today is a way that I live my value of empowering youth, of helping others be the best versions of themselves. But you might like other brands more than some, and there's good reason for that. Sure, if you like Puma instead of Nike, it may be you like the design, but there's a reason why you like that design. So think really hard about the brands that you affiliate with, because they say something about what you value. And that is important because your brand needs to have a set of defined values. So if I look at your brand without knowing you at all, I can pick some of those things up. Or some of the brands you might like may not be products, they could be people. Steve Jobs, Nelson Mandela, Oprah Winfrey, whomever it is that you see that personifies the kind of brand that you aspire to be, that's what you need to consider. It could be a person, a brand, or even a company. There is something about that is important to you. You also want to look at what have you seen, heard, perhaps experienced that made you change your opinion about a brand. So that could be, say, they use child labor, or you find that Woolies have been in the firing line so many times when they've been accused of stealing other people's design concepts. It could be that you don't value the way that they are overpriced in a market that is already tough. It doesn't really matter. Bad experiences, bad reviews, those are the things that you don't want to be. You do not want to be affiliated with. And so you then need to audit yourself to make sure that you're not doing that just dressed as a different way. So that's important. And then you need to make a decision now. And I hear you before you even say, I'm in my first year of a general qualification. I don't know where my direction's going, but you knew enough to choose what you're studying. So pick from that, because remember, you can adjust as you go along. The way that you tell the story and edit the story shows growth and development. So I'm not saying you can only have one thing and that's what you stick with for the rest of your eternity. I'm just saying, what do you want to be known for? So if it's professionally, it could be your job, but it could be a set of skills. It could be a value proposition, how you take a certain set of skills and you utilize it for a specific value proposition. That is a possibility too. And then how do you want to be known personally? What is your value system and how do you show up as that? So somebody is on, you're welcome to ask a question if you've unmuted. Okay, you're muting again. Okay. And how you show up is a million different things. It could be on your CV. It could be in today's workshop. It could be online on LinkedIn. It could be in a lecture hall. It could be on a career development day. It could be in an interview. It could be at work. So you think about this. So let's, and I'm not picking on anybody today. I'm just using it as an example. So as a recruiter who you now know, recruits graduates from time to time, when I say you need to stand out and I ask for participation, how you showing up is the people that are standing out and asking questions are most likely the ones that I'm going to remember. So the same is true in a workplace. When you ask for opinions, when you ask for suggestions, when you ask to get involved in specific projects or charity events or give back opportunities, how you show up really, really matters. Any questions on this? Yes, go ahead.
Oh, so, ma'am, I wanted to know that, for example, let's say maybe I want to do a business on the side. Can we use this to align with our professionality, along the course of the way.
Of course. And in fact, I would actively encourage that, because running a business on the side teaches you immensely valuable skills that, oddly enough, are very transferable into a corporate workplace in any job, actually. However, having said that, you are your brand at the moment. So when we start a side hustle, to begin with, people are buying into you as much as they are the product or the service. So if you wrap that all together and you use these same techniques, you are absolutely going to get ahead of that pack. There was another hand. Did somebody want to ask a different question? Okay, I didn't understand that one. So, okay, Sue?
Yes, sorry. Thanks
Yeah.
for having me. Thanks for hosting this recruiters webinar about personal branding. So my question is about I want to tie reputation with what with branding, because I think as we grow our businesses, as we grow and as we advertise our traits and everything, it's sort of a brand. So let's say now I say I am against child labor and everything, but because of financial difficulties or maybe resources, I end up not doing the due diligence that is enough for me to know that this certain supplier of mine is using child labor to supply me these goods. So how does one recover from that sort of branding? Because I've seen it from celebrities. They don't, most of them don't really totally recover, such as Zahara and some have
Okay.
not recovered from falling from their sort of personal brand. So how does one recover from that? Thank you.
Okay, so the truth is you may not, but the honest truth is if you don't do something immediately, there's no damage control, you definitely won't. So it's about owning your mistakes. It's about owning them for one, and then taking accountability for it, and then making change. So once you know about it, how quickly did you act? How quickly did you change suppliers? What did you do that highlighted the plight of child labor? Did you report them? Did you do the right thing? So it's fine to know and then to carry on, because costing is a problem, right? And I need to make money. But your damage control process is equally as important. It's about making right. Everybody makes mistakes, and that's an extreme example, right? But sometimes, and if you go back and look on some of mine, I've made a statement, somebody's taken it a different way. It wasn't what I intended, but I understood how they may have seen it that way. Your damage control process: acknowledgement, apology, correction. And there are sometimes you're going to get a troll. They're going to be like that for the sake of being like that. Then it shows your self-regulation, not reacting, but responding and continuously doing the right thing to build the reputation. That's pretty much how you're going to get it done. So you had a question?
Thank you so much for this session. Mine is not a question, but more just to integrate my thoughts in what you were speaking about, brand and your brand behavior. So I think as much as it's showing up as a strong personal behavior is essential, specifically when we are seeking jobs, because employers do pay attention to both our behavior as well as our digital footprint, especially in this day and age. And so for me, it's important to present ourselves confidently and consistently, but also be mindful of where and how we show up. This could be, either a negative behavior online, and this can undermine our credibility. So I think we have to be very mindful that social media presence has to align with our professional image that we want to portray. Thank you.
100% correct. And sometimes it's the smallest things when we talk about how you show up. So I ask for I put out an advert and I say, please send your CV and your academic transcripts to this email address using this subject line. And that's not what happens. That's showing up, just not in the good way. Or I walk towards somebody in reception and they're slouching in the chair, scrolling on their phone. That's how you're showing up. That is how you're representing your brand. And yes, you don't think it's important at the time, but it is vitally important. Sorry, there was a last hand. I'm sorry, I didn't see who it was. And then we can move on.
Hi, it was my hand. I feel like I just want a bit back on the personal branding and showing up. So oh my God, I don't know how to say my question, but in instances where you're not necessarily a vocal person, but you don't struggle with confidence, how do you necessarily show up and like being seen without, I don't want to say without being loud, but how do you ensure that your presence is felt even without the words?
Okay. That's a very good question. Thank you for that. You know, most of the time, extroverts are heard and seen much more than introverts. But introverts have such strong sense of listening. An introvert's going to listen, they're going to assimilate information, and then they're going to think about it and then come up with suggestion. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody says you have to be the loudest in the room. Sometimes being the most considered in the room is important. Am I going to say to you, sit back at the back and don't say anything? No. Am I going to say, put yourself out there sometimes when you genuinely have something to say? Yes. But there's other ways to do it. So you can send an email to the group. Thank you for the meeting. I have thought about this. I've considered this. These are my suggestions. Happy to discuss it with you individually or next time. It is a way to do it. It doesn't have to be loud and out there. It definitely doesn't. But do you need to show up? Yes, you do. Okay. The next part of defining your brand is deciding who your target audience is. So Coca-Cola are not going to go and advertise in a Fanta-only store because nobody that goes into the Fanta-only store is likely to buy Coke. So you need to know who your target audience is. So if your brand goal is your own business, it would be twofold. If your business is a side hustle, you might want to balance your brand in terms of who are my buying audience and who are my hiring audience if you're looking for a job. So there's those two sides. So really know who it is because you can't be all things to all people. It's very, very, very difficult. So know who your audience is. Then you want to know where are they. So if your target audience is, say, development managers, they will definitely be on LinkedIn, but they could be on Reddit. They may be on GitHub. If your target audience is HR managers, there'll be LinkedIn, there may be subreddits, there could be a lot of different places that they are. Please also consider that they are not all online. You can't only target online audiences. You need to be able to show up in person and find those opportunities to network and brand yourself outside of social media. When you know who they are, where they are, you want to know what is important to them because your messaging needs to be tailored to them. So let's go. I'm a recruiter. What's important to me is that I get concise information that showcases what value you bring to the table. So that when I'm looking at 2,000 CVs, I can immediately see why you believe you would add value to what I'm looking for. Because in order for me to make a placement with my client, I have to present the very best people, not the first 3 people, the best 3 people. So that's important to me. To an HR manager, what may be important to them is that people they engage with have a fundamental understanding of labor legislation or of people practices. So your messaging would be to showcase that to them. If you're a dev manager, as a junior developer, what might be important to a development manager is that you understand how to use artifacts, how to use technology, that you may be coding language agnostic, It may be that you have a good understanding of unit testing, as an example. But you need to do a little bit of research to know what's important to them. And you do that by looking at a lot of profiles, by looking at groups, what they post on those groups, by looking at job specs to understand what the most generic requirements are. That's what becomes important to your audience. And you have to understand your goal. Am I trying to get a job? Am I trying to progress in my career? Am I trying to build a business? Because your goals may be different. And again, at this stage, if you're looking at you're doing a business and you're looking to be employed, your goals will be twofold. But if you tell the story correctly and you own your story, those goals can almost merge at some point. So it's how do you do that? And then how do I contribute to the community? Now, we think about corporate citizenship, companies that give back, that invest in their local communities, that develop small suppliers, the like. That's how they contribute. But they also do a whole bunch of other things. You have a way to contribute. So let's say you're a third-year student this year, and you've had 2 work integrated learning opportunities. You could help first-year students understand what would make them more successful in that, or how to find these opportunities, or how to navigate a certain challenge. You could share articles that are of relevance to your target audience. There are so many ways to contribute, but you need to think about them in order to define your brand. But you also need to be consistent. And I'm not saying post the same thing over and over and over again, but you need to be consistent in terms of what is my brand saying about me? How am I delivering that by what it is that I associate with, who I associate with, where I do, and what it is that I contribute to that. Any questions on this? I just want to check the time as well. Okay, I've got a mindful of time. Yes. Your name flashed quite fast, so I think it was in Tando something. Question? Yes, you can go ahead and unmute. Tando Nyenkosi. Yes. You're still muted. Do you want to unmute? Okay, I'm going to move on, and then when you're ready, we can unmute or park it till the end. Okay. So again, I'm saying to you, you're not 2 separate people. You're one person with personal interests and a professional brand. But understand, as Sue rightfully said, I am going to go and check you out. I'm going to go to LinkedIn first, but I'm going to look at you holistically. So on the personal side, and depending what career you're going into, so if you're a visual graphic design type person, you may be on Instagram, Pinterest, all of these Behance. But if you're a professional person, you might be on Quora, About Me, GitHub, Stack Overflow, LinkedIn. All of these things have a part to play. So if you on the one hand tell me you're a responsible, career-orientated, advocate for non-discriminatory practices, and I go and look at you on Facebook or on Pinterest or on Instagram or anywhere else or Twitter, and I see something contradictory to that, I'm going to consider that. I'm also going to consider by association. So if we use that example of a supplier who uses child labor, that is an association I will make about you. So if you belong to radical groups, or you belong to groups that incite violence, or anything that might be problematic, trust me, it's going to come into play. So really what I'm saying is use this holistically. I'm not saying if you go and look at my Facebook or my Instagram, my dog has Instagram, I don't. There's a million pictures of my pug. But does that mean that I'm any less professional? Absolutely not. Does it mean that I have interests outside of work? Absolutely. But just be mindful of what the whole picture looks like. There was a hand.
Yes, ma'am. No, I just wanted to let you know that Tando Yenkosi is saying that can you please unmute her on your side?
I can't. Somebody from the career development unit will have to do that.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you for that, though. I appreciate that. All right, I'm going to move on, and then we can come back to that. Right, so I'm saying that it's not magic. There's the science. Okay, you've got your hand up now, Tando Nkosi. Can you unmute now, or?
Everyone has an option to unmute themselves. They can just try again. Can Mr. Ntando Nkosi try again?
Yes.
Unmute his mic.
Okay, when he unmutes, he can just stop me. Okay. So there is no real magic to this, right? There's a science of marketing psychology, and all the good brands really use it. It's taking human behavior plus how we make decisions and then creating marketing around that. So it doesn't go what I want. It really digs deep to understand why I want that. So let me give you a silly example. I don't go to Builders Warehouse because I want to buy a drill. I go to Builders Warehouse because I need a hole, and the drill's what serves the purpose. So when you're marketing to me because I need a hole, you're tapping into how easy it is for me to create my project with that product or that experience. So that is really what you want to think about. And there's a couple of things in that space. The powerful emotion of personalization. Do I feel like you're speaking to me? Like, how did you know I wanted to put this thing on my wall? How did you know that? That's so cool. I feel special about it. Or when Coke puts your name on and you get so excited about seeing your name on a bottle in a fridge somewhere. It's super cool. So how do you create a powerful emotion that connects with your readers, that makes them think, wow, that was really smart, or that was really considered of me? And then there's social proof. So think about when you're looking to go to a new club, you run around and ask your friends, hey, have you ever been to that club? What was it like? What was the music like? Was there a whole bunch of underage kids there? Or if you're looking to buy a product on Takealot, you go and look at the reviews. That is social proof. You can create that on your social media presence by the way that people comment, by the people that make recommendations of you, the people that share your content. That is social proof. The references you get in your first job, or for that matter, during your work integrated learning opportunities, that is social proof. You can create authority and credibility, much like Coke has. They've established dominance in their market because they've demonstrated an authority and a credibility. You can build credibility through sustained posting, through sustained demonstration of application of knowledge, through your working career, through what you do at work. You can do it right now at varsity in the way that you tackle group projects or assignments or exams. You can show up there and establish yourself differently. Consistency and commitment. We've all seen those products, especially, let's even go AI, right? Have a free trial, test us out, see how you feel about it, then subscribe. You can do the same type of thing. I can tell you now, it's very, very rare that a graduate attends an interview and at the end of an interview says to me, or to any of my clients for that matter, what could I give you that would demonstrate my suitability for this role? Is there an assessment you'd like me to do? Could I show you one of my projects that I feel is relevant to this environment? Give me something to prove myself. Like this many do it. And when you do that, you're immediately standing out. You're standing proud and saying, I know I can do this, let me show you. Even if you don't ace it, the fact that you put yourself out there is actually enough. Then you know, like Puma sponsor a specific sports person, or Nike sponsor a specific sport. It's liking and affinity. You want to be associated with brands and products that are seen in the mainstream. And you can do the same. On LinkedIn, as an example, you can go and follow companies that you'd like to work for. You can go and follow thought leaders in your space. You can comment and be present on LinkedIn groups. That is you creating an affinity in a community that is directly related to something that you want to do. And you do all of this by repetition. Think about Coke. They brand consistently on billboards, at sports events, on the top of spaza shops. They consistently repeat their messages of sharing and happiness. They don't go off on a tangent one day and then veer straight back 2 days later. Repetition is important. It's the same as learning a new language. You do this by repeating it over and over again. It's sometimes how we learn, but it is certainly a very strong concept of marketing psychology. Okay. I want to say this because it is absolutely important. You want to remain authentic. I am absolutely not telling you, please put yourself out there in a way that you think makes what people want to see and hear, not who you are, because you need to live up to this for the rest of your life. You need to be able to be that person on paper and in person. And that is absolutely, it's critical. You have to be authentic. And to do this, it means you've got to understand your values and your boundaries. You need to know what's okay, what's not okay, right? And that's at the bottom. When I say learn to compromise, to identify compromise, not bending, you need to be able to say, I'm firm on the fact that I only want to work in environments that value integrity. I am not going to work in a call center or advocate for selling stuff to people that is not what they want for the sake of making a buck. That is a boundary. You want to communicate it clearly. You need to stay firm on your key principles. So if you say you value innovation, how are you showing me that? How are you reflecting and assessing that? And when you look at your posts, would I see that shine through? So let's see where authenticity would show up. It would absolutely show up in your CV. It would show up on how you position yourselves in an email to a recruiter or to a future employer. It would show up in what it is that you say in an interview. AI is wonderful for helping us, but it does like to inflate us. So it might say, I have been instrumental in creating a saving for this employer. Actually, what you did was you found missing pens. Okay, so really think about, where does my authenticity need to shine? And am I being authentic? Am I saying the truth, but still highlighting where my strengths may be? Because our strengths are really relative to how we understand them and how we see ourselves applying them, as much as it is your weaknesses or areas of development. But remaining authentic is key to long-term success. Any questions on this so far? No. Okay. So we talked about LinkedIn, EQ and your brand. And again, I want you to think about what EQ means. So you say you are dependable. That is one of the things that you put on your CV. But I asked you to send me something by close of business. You don't, and I also don't know why. That's not dependability and it's not reliable. So you're not showing this. It's not how I'm going to perceive you. Or you say you value teamwork, but when a team member's struggling, you don't stay and help. I'm going to perceive you as a lone, you're not, that is not team playing for me. There's a conflict in the office. I see you reacting and getting angry and just walking away. Definitely not how I'm going to perceive you. But if I hear you going, I understand that you're not agreeing with me. Let's take some time to think about our different views. Can we come back and discuss this at another time? That is responding, not reacting. It strengthens your brand. It constantly reinforces the personality traits of professionalism that you show up in every day, right? If I say to you, we'd like to all get involved in this extra task, and you all commit and you don't show up, that's a huge problem. That is definitely going to damage your brand long term. And the same is true on social media. How you phrase things is as important as what you're saying. How you say it versus what you're saying. How will I feel or perceive you when I have viewed that piece of content that you have put out there? So I'm going to show you some examples now, right? Mindset and behavior. Your mindset and behavior is your reputation in motion. It's what you do that shows what you said that you are. A growth-orientated mindset, so important. You need to fundamentally believe that you can learn and change. If you don't, you are going to stay behind. And it is at this point of your careers, that is probably one of the biggest differentiators. The ability to say, I don't know, but this is what I'm going to do. Or I don't know, but this is what I think I'm going to do. Or I don't know, but this is what I have already done to do so. You can learn EQ. You can learn how to respond and not react. You can learn skills. You can learn technology. You can learn products. You cannot learn how to apply yourself like this. That is part of you. So there's a number of ways you communicate your brand. We've touched on that again. I'm not going to go there. And then I just want to remind you here, it's participation with purpose, not random stuff spat out because Geeta said I must post 3 times a week. What you post needs to contribute to this brand. I need to see that there has been some purpose behind it. And every single action adds up and is a step towards becoming known for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons. So that is just an aside. Let's have a look at some of the ways that we show up on LinkedIn. Real graduate, I see your hand. I'll get you now. Just don't put your hand down. Just want to finish the slide. Or let's just take the question quickly. Sorry. Yes.
No, I wanted to know that, ma'am, does psychology also fall under this? Because due to my personal experience, people have told me that a positive psychology can also make things better when it comes to some things like this.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it does. And the ability to, and EQ is so tied into this, how you understand other people and yourselves contributes to how you behave and your mindset. And there's so many psychological tricks and tips, just like in marketing, that you can apply to this. So the answer is yes. There was another hand quickly. Yes. I think it was Siviwe or Siv something. Sorry. No? Going back? Yes. How do you pronounce your name?
It's Sive, just Sive.
Sive, okay.
Okay. My question was on reaction and responding. Do you necessarily, how does one see if they are not, because sometimes it's sometimes you need a quick response to something. So that can also be interpreted as a reaction, not a response. So in a heated argument, when you want to break off or something, or in to some of us who have been in shareholders meeting, where you will argue with shareholders, how does one navigate that? Because it's sort of a gray area. You can't just pinpoint, okay, this was a reaction. How does one navigate that? Do you need to seek out a psychologist to further study about how to regulate your emotions and everything, or how does one deal with that?
You know, there is and I have to go back on the list and check whether the EQ course is been run by DUT, but I have got one, and there are lots of ways. So arguing is a reaction, not a response. Okay. A response would be dealing with the topic, not the person. A reaction would be how you behave towards somebody yelling. You don't have to yell back. You can respond calmly back. Not everything, even though you feel it does, requires an immediate response. It does not. Sometimes it can be parked because you feel that there may be additional information that will be required. Perhaps there's data, perhaps there is a different opinion somebody else has. So it's really just about making sure, and reactions are sometimes so small, right? You roll your eyes because somebody said something you thought was stupid, or you're like, oh no, not again, right? You throw your hands up, you go, ah, or you touch your head like this. Those are reactions. It's things we need to learn to be mindful of, but are going to pop up sometimes. Let's be honest, we're human, right? We can't just be little robots that all go like this without any emotion whatsoever. But self-regulating or self-awareness is about catching those behaviors and seeing when it's appropriate to edit and adapt yourself to it. It's a process. It's not something that you learn like this. It takes time, but the first step is understanding your triggers. So if I start every sentence with, I know for a fact, and that just ticks you off, you're going to respond to saying, I happen to know that is not a fact, with an irritated voice. That's a reaction. But if you say, I understand, but this is the data that I have, could we have a look at it? That's a response. Okay. Does that answer your question somewhat?
Yes, most definitely does.
Okay.
Thanks.
So let's have a look at how some people are showing up. This is a graduate. She's got her name, then customer care, then her surname. So I'm wondering, did her mother call her in brackets customer care? Because that's now becomes her full name. She's a BA Humanities, and I say she, it did happen to be a she. So she's got BA Humanities, then she's got Geo Software, plus payroll, plus customer care, plus something. It's so confusing. So no banner at the back of her LinkedIn. And open to work. Now I'm supposed to be impressed, right? I'm supposed to be looking at you and going, oh, this is an HR person I want to speak to. But I didn't phone her. I didn't reach out because she didn't even take the time to complete the very basic elements of a full LinkedIn profile. So she didn't care enough about her own image. Now I'm going to entrust my company's HR and people practices to this person. I'm definitely not. So if your LinkedIn looks like this, quick, fast, go fix it. Go and find a LinkedIn banner that speaks to either what you do or something about you personally. And you can do Canva. There's a million free ones on Canva that you can use. Here's some that are better. So they don't have banners, and I chose not to show you what they do. But tell me what you think about these two pictures. If you were looking, let's make it up. Let's say we were looking for a finance intern. Tell me what your impression would have been if you were me, the recruiter.
I'll take the guy.
Okay, why? Because he's not in the middle. Just joking.
The guy with the white t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
The guy.
Absolutely, the guy. But what if she had an honors degree? She got distinctions in accountancy. She said that she was looking to be a professional chartered accountant, wanting to work for one of the very, very old school Investec banks. And this is what she put out there.
No one would
So
take her seriously because of her appearance on the profile picture.
100%. And here again, it's showing up. She, in her mind, probably thinks, and she is beautiful. I mean, it's an opinion, but she's beautiful. And this picture is a beautiful picture of her, just not for this. Just
Maybe
not
for
for this.
modeling agency or something.
Absolutely. So when I say how you show up, sometimes it can be very small things that contribute to an overall image. Sue, you had a question or you put your hand up?
Again, it's not a question, just again to reiterate from what you're saying and what the colleagues are also echoing. Yes, I do believe that it's a very pretty picture of her. And but in this case, she's definitely not used the correct platform for that picture. So we all should be mindful of the fact that when we go to a funeral, we would dress differently as if we were going to a nightclub. So the same would apply in these kind of scenarios. Thank you.
I also want to say, because it's appropriate for this audience, I have seen some graduation photos and it is a celebration without a doubt. But I've also seen some graduation photos where I thought, oh my soul, did she forget her pants? Why is that thing so teeny tiny? And all I see is chest and cleavage. And I go, this is your next stage into your professional career. By all means, be dressed up, but really be mindful of what it is that you use as those pictures. We put an entire photo shoot of our graduation and how proud we are of our double graduations. But then you go and you do something like that and you just kind of undo your professional status. So just really just be mindful. And the same is true if you put out a post with poor spelling, poor grammar, you forgot to put the link in that you said, have a look at the link in the comments. All these tiny actions contribute. Okay, you're welcome to unmute. MZ, sorry, the name flashed by.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Yes, I just saw you kind of referenced when we were viewing the profile of the lady customer care. So I just wanted to ask a question. Let's just say there you using the same, since you were talking about a personal brand, let's just say you have a business brand also. Is it possible to merge the two into one profile? Let's just say what's in the brackets is your business name and what's outside the brackets is your name and maybe your surname, if I must say.
Okay, so let me ask you this question. If you go onto Apple, right? Does it say Apple Steve Jobs products? No. You and your business are two separate entities. You need to have a personal profile that can reference your business as a job or as a post. And then you need to create a business profile where you market your business. Your name is not Geeta Customer Care Winter. You need to be careful about distilling your brand to what its purpose is. So yes, so if I wanted to attach performability recruitment to me, I'm not changing my name, but I have got my banners, got my logo and my company name on. My first job has got that on, my board appointments. So everything on my profile speaks to that. You can speak about it in your About Me section, but you're certainly not going to lump it all together at all. Think about Unilever. Unilever doesn't go Unilever /sunlight /baby product / It's Unilever. And then each product doesn't have, so if you're advertising nappies, it doesn't have dishwashing liquid in it. So just keep going back to what good brands do. They don't do that. They don't dilute it to the point where you're not really sure what it was meant to be. Does that help answer the question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
All right. Let's have a look at your marketing plan. Sorry, there was another hand up. Was that the old hand? Old hand. Okay, thank you. So when you need to create a marketing plan, Coke doesn't randomly wake up one day and go, bugger, we better put out an advert today. There's a considered approach. So you need to have a goal and you need to have metrics. What do you need to achieve? So if you're looking for a full-time job or a work integrated learning opportunity, your goal would be to connect with organizations and people in hiring positions and recruiters. Your metrics could be, I need to grow my LinkedIn connections by 50 people by the end of the first quarter. Or it could be, I need to have improved my profile views or my search metrics by X amount. So you know whether you're achieving something or not. You then need to decide, what am I going to do online and what am I going to do offline? So online, you could have and we'll talk about it just now. I'm going to do a series of posts. I'm going to grow and join a certain selection of groups. I'm going to engage with those groups in a certain way. Offline, it could be there is an HR expo and conference where there's free attendance. I'm going to go and do that. And while I'm there, I'm going to attend some of those workshops, and I'm going to, one of my metrics and goals would be, I'm going to introduce myself to 5 HR representatives that morning, and I'm going to then follow it up with an email when I get back, right? You could say, I'm going to join a number of meetups. So on meetups.com, there is a gazillion different agile project managers, change managers, you name it, you can find it. I'm going to attend those sessions and I'm going to network and I'm going to have learned something and apply it. So you need to be both offline and online. Let's say, as an example, there's a career day coming up at the university. And normally you shuffle past each stand, you take a brochure, you might watch a video, and then you move on. You need to think about, how did that help me? So you may need to edit that to say, I'm going to select 3 of the ones that are most interesting. I'm going to go and introduce myself. I'm going to go and ask them for an opinion on what could I do that would make me stand out when I apply to you in a year's time. What do I do now? How do I engage with this business? Then you want to think about, okay, so if I'm in the workplace or on campus, how do I want to show up? Do I want to join clubs? Do I want to join committees? Do I want to find ways to demonstrate my leadership capabilities? Do I put my hand up in group assignments and say, I'm going to manage this for us. I'm going to keep us on track. How do you do it? Then when you do that, how do you demonstrate it and how do you show that on and offline? So you could, as an example, go and say, I'm a finance graduate or I'm a finance student. I am also now the treasurer of my res, and it has taught me valuable skills of X, Y, and Z. Then you can go and say, very interesting. I looked at the budget for the res and I engaged with the other team on ways to save costs or generate extra revenue. That would be exactly what a management accountant would have done. So you can showcase all of this if you think about it carefully. You want to tap into your strengths, right? So if you are particularly good at marketing yourself, if you're particularly good at reconciliations, or you just get a distinction in a certain sector or of electives or modules, hands down, you don't really need to think about it. You just shine there. Tap into that, showcase that, but be equally consistent into showing commitment to areas of development. Reach out for help. Show that you've done some LinkedIn learning. Post your Udemy stuff to show that you're upskilling on Excel as a finance student. Go and reach out to connections and say, oh, I see that you've listed yourself as Excel advanced. You're in a company I'd love to work for. Can you give me some advice? When you reach out like that, it is very, very different to when you reach out and go, hey, do you have a job for me? Because that's what most students do, sadly. If, in fact, sometimes you even just get, hey, and then silence, and then 3 days later you get, do you have a job? No capitals, no question marks, no nothing. So how do you do that? And then be consistent with your activity and intent. You want to be on groups. You want to be connecting there. You want to be, as an example, how are you engaging with your current alumni? Those guys have a lot of value they can give you. How are you looking for companies or individuals that would mentor you from now, even if you're in first year? That is marketing yourself, because those people will be your brand advocates when the time comes. So you need to have a plan. You need to know, what am I aiming to do? How am I going to do it? When am I going to do it? How often am I going to do it? And you need to be, as hard as it is, when life gets busy, when you've got assignments and exams and you're doing your business on the side, you need to find time for this because it is critical. Right, let's have a look at this post. Yes. There, you can go. We've got a couple of minutes, so I want to, you can unmute. Okay, you've gone again. Let's have a look at this post. So you can see this was a graduate. Well, you can't, but it was a graduate. It's got his graduation cap on and everything. It's got an open to work banner. These are the images that he posted. And what he's done is his post says critical thinking and decisions making. Hands up, so thumbs up. You use the reactions button. Thumbs up if you came across this post. Who would have liked this post? Click the like button. None of you, or you all looking for the button, the reaction button? Okay. If you were to comment on this post, what would you have said?
It is truly indeed creative thinking, critical thinking,
I agree.
because no one else or someone who does not have critical thinking would have never thought about that, but would have seen a problem instead.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you for that. I saw another hand, something with a Q. QJ, I think it was. What would you have said? No? Okay. So yes, you're right. It was problem solving. There's no denying that. But let me tell you what I see on this picture. I see a person that chose to park in an illegal spot. Possibly because there may have been a fire hydrant behind that would have been problematic in the event of an emergency. So now we don't follow the rules and we do as we please. Then the person comes back, sees their wheels being clamped, and they have a notice to say, please come and pay the fine at whatever office. They decide not to take an accountability for their poor decision making and compound it with theft. They took the wheel off, they took the clamp and drove off. So now I'm looking for a graduate. This person happened to be an IT graduate. And I go, not going to follow rules, not going to take accountability for mistakes, probably going to steal the pens in the office. Do I want to engage with this person? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I can't tell you how many people like this, or I'm going to teach this to my children. I went and looked at every one of those graduates, his friends at the time, and thought, okay, cool. Here's a whole bunch of IT people who think this is cool. They're also not going to get called by me ever again. So can you see how what he intended, which was looking at problems differently, could have turned out so very wrong? Very, very wrong. Let's have a look at how this could have been different. So when I say be mindful of not just what you say, but how you say it. Let's say he posted the same 3 pictures, but he added a 4th picture. Him going back, paying the fine, and returning the wheel clamp. Let's say instead of critical thinking and decisions making, he wrote, he explained, he gave context to his decision. There was a genuine emergency. What you don't see is me being right across the road in a building, helping to get a person needing medical attention to the car. And in the moment, this was the very best decision I could make to help the person, but also to come back and to say, yeah, thank you for this. Here's my fine. This is what I did to make it right. It would have been a completely different picture altogether. Do you see what I mean? About being intentful about what your objective is. Really thinking it through. And remember what I said about your brand? It's not what you think, it's what I think when I see it. It's my perception of your brand. So this person should have thought carefully about what would be the worst thing somebody could assume by this. And really, that's where my mind went, the very worst thing. Lack of accountability, poor decision-making, theft. Anybody have a different opinion or want to talk about this quickly? Because we need to wrap up. We've got a couple of minutes left. We did start a bit late, so we've got about 10 minutes left. Different opinions, comments, thoughts. Like, oh my soul, I never thought about it that way. I would have liked that post. Yike.
What I want to know, ma'am, is do you really believe that recruiters do look at what you post on social media besides your professional pages such as LinkedIn? Do they go look at your Facebook, your TikTok, just to find out more about you as a person? Or
absolutely we do. I guarantee you we do. In fact, it is so common. You know what LexisNexis is? It's where recruiters and companies go and do background verification checks. We can do your criminal check, your qualification checks, your credit reports, whether you've got any fraud listings. It's so common that we actually can pay a third party to scroll through your entire online presence for areas of risk. So the answer is yes. This was on LinkedIn though, but yeah. I want to know what I'm getting into because remember, my reputation is also on the line as a recruiter. If I'm going to place you at my client and then 3 days later, you've stolen the company car and there was an indication of that, I'm going to be complicit in that placement. So yes, it's important that when we do it, let me go back. Not every recruiter does it. Just like not every recruiter is honest and reputable, and you need to be mindful. You need to make sure you're dealing with reputable recruiters. You should be asking them if they've got minimum compliance. You should be, if they're not telling you where your CV is going to, I'm telling you they dodge because we have to comply with POPI. So you need to make sure you're dealing with the right people too. So not every recruiter, but all the ones that I engage with, and certainly all of the APSO member recruiters, they are going to lengths to check you out. Too much damage otherwise. Any other questions, comments on this as an example?
Okay, so ma'am, I wanted to ask, so what you are saying about this picture is that we should critically think and also evaluate the problem or the thing that's going on. We shouldn't look one side, but we should look both sides and review what's right and wrong, so it won't change our brand. So that's what you're saying.
Absolutely. Because if you told me you valued integrity and honesty, but then I come across this picture, I'm going to say, no, that's definitely not gelling for me. So yes. And in the workplace, it's also a skill, right? And again, we go back to react and respond. In the workplace, you want to have thought about all the potential outcomes of an action before you go ahead and do something. Most companies, they want to know that people have that level of critical thinking, that you have considered both the risks and the benefits of an action. Yeah. It's your brand. Right. Okay, so here's a different one as what seems maybe less of a polarizing post. Humanities graduate, human resource management. They've got no banner. This is one of their very few posts. There's not a lot of posts. This is one of the very few. What causes someone to constantly view your profile but does not send a connection request or a message? Just views every now and again. So out of interest, I went to look at their profile. Spelling mistakes, incomplete sections, no duties on the jobs, no post to showcase anything. So my question then is, why should we connect with you? Because what are you giving us to want to connect with you? Why would I connect with you when you've given me nothing? And remember, I've got 2,500 other graduates to choose from. You haven't given me anything, so why are you asking? If you're going to ask a question like this, then your profile should be complete. There should be something that speaks about your brand. And do you want to know how many comments this woman got on her posts? I think less than 5. So that shows you even this wasn't that interesting. It could have been very different. This could have been an entire post about how to get people to look at you differently when they do that. She could have posted as a HR person to really shine as an employee, but she chose to do it this way. Same message could have been turned out so differently. Comments, questions, thoughts about this one? Nope. Okay, so here's some yes, you can ask quickly.
No, ma'am, I just wanted to maybe add on what you're saying. That regarding that, can you please show me that post again, ma'am?
Here we go.
Yeah, that sometimes we should look at the problem, but think of a solution. Like we should already think like the solution is there, but it isn't. So that is also another part that is critical to what you are saying, because it enables us to think of more solutions before the problem. You
Correct.
see?
Correct. And when I was saying earlier, how do you contribute to your community? She could have contributed by just positioning this post differently. Yeah. Right. Let's have a look at some content ideas to brand yourself at this stage of your career or where you are now. You can post milestones, completion of first year, key projects, your first work integrated learning, extra courses that you've done over and above. You could also have gotten a certain milestone in your side business that you're doing in addition to your studies. Those are milestones that show your ability to achieve. Very, very valuable. Then you can post success stories where you have been appointed, nominated to committees, where you've got exceptional marks, where you have contributed to certain projects. It could also be where you do some off-campus work. Perhaps you're a youth leader at your church and you've had a very successful kids event that you had a very good contribution to. Think about all the things that showcase your skills, your abilities, your ability to go beyond just achieving the stock standard bare minimums. Knowledge and skills. So you could go and find a trending article or something that's topical. You could post the article, but you can have your own opinion on it. I found it very interesting that that so XYZ company was pulling out of South Africa. If you're a business student, this is what I see happening. This is where I think, this is what I believe. You're showing that you can take knowledge and skills and apply them to situations. It is very telling of how you would behave in the workplace. Same with the thought process. I have seen a recent trend of X, Y, and Z I think it could be applicable like this. I think we could use it like this. A thought process, how you've taken a problem, how you've seen a solution, how you've worked through something. Very valuable. You can share content of thought leaders, but as long as you put your own comment with it. Why are you sharing? Why does this speak to your audience? How does this contribute to your community? What are you seeing in this article that is of interest to you and to others? That is branding you. And then, of course, you can give back or do teaching posts. You can give advice to students coming behind you. You can answer questions where you've had similar scenarios and you've been able to work through them. Never believe that because you are young, you have nothing to teach or give back. People can learn from anybody, anytime, anywhere. Do not believe that you have nothing. You have way more than you think. So those are just some of the examples of what it is that you could post, content ideas that you can share. Anybody want to question this? Think about this a bit, because we are at the last slide after this. You could talk about your business. You could talk about how you went about thinking about why your business was viable, how you chose providers. So let's say you're doing supply chain and logistics as a qualification. The fact that you had a process to choose suppliers or logistics partners, even in your own little business, is very telling of your skills and abilities and how you approach business. You can use all of that. Anybody have anything they want to ask, talk about here? Yes. Ntando Nkosi?
Yes, thank you. So I did raise a hand earlier, but I don't know what happened. My mic, it was disabled. I don't know how. So I couldn't contribute.
Okay.
But then now so it sometimes works and then it gets disabled. I'm not sure what's happening, and this is messing up my workshop that I looked so forward to. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to take this opportunity since it's now working. So what I want, it's not really. This is not really a question, Miss Winter. It's rather a comment, if I can put it like that. So I did had something that I wanted assistance on earlier, on how to get on how to stand out. But now I do feel answered. Somewhere along the workshop, you did speak about consistency, repetition, and then you now you are now speaking about some of the ideas, content ideas on how or on some of the things that you can post. So I believe that these are some of the ways in which I can stand out. And then you did speak about there was a part where you spoke about doing a research on what the company, on what's important about the company, about the hiring company. Maybe like going on their social media pages, looking some of the things that you can look at is their newsletters. Those are some of the things that you can gather information from, and then focus more on that to make yourself stand out from other applicants.
Yes. Thank you for that. There is a
Yes.
LinkedIn workshop that we look at LinkedIn specifically and how to maximize every single section and group and job application on LinkedIn. So that one goes into a lot more detail on LinkedIn, but this is really just in essence how you brand yourself. So thank you for that. I saw there was another hand. I think it was Mongani, or I think it was.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
Good, and you?
I'm okay. I just want to ask something. If how does one stand out? Let's say before you move to social media and everything, based on the email, what's more important to how do you stand out? Is it the body of the email, the subject, or then the second one is I've come across a recruiter who asked for salary expectation. And then on the advert itself, it was nothing based on salary. How do you also work around that one?
Okay. All right. So that's a whole different topic, maybe for another day. But to stand out, so first of all, follow the instructions. So if the recruiter said, send this with this, and this must be the subject line, do that. And then make sure you say, Dear Geeta, and then give me something to make me want to open your CV. So if you're saying, let me give you an example, because we get this all the time. Sometimes I get no subject line, no body of the email. I get a document that says PDF 23456 or new CV or CV updated. That's your brand in a nutshell. Like, I'm not going to even open that. Absolutely not going to open that. But if in the email you said, I've had a look at your job spec. I see myself having strengths is this. I have contributed similarly in this. I believe I can do this. I'm going to pay attention. But when you say, attached is my CV and I meet the requirements of this job spec 100% and I open it, and I can't even find one single word that is anywhere near what I'm looking for, it's a quick delete. So when you stand out, have done your research, go and have a look, really look at that job spec, really think about your transferable skills, really think about projects that you've done. Tell me why, tell me your story, give me your context, because even that is enough at the moment, because very few graduates or students actually do that. Take the time to unpack it for me, not expect me to do that job for you. Already then you've earned brownie points. Okay. Okay, I'm going to finish the slide, then I'll take the last couple of questions because we're probably a little bit over time now. Your brand can't be outsourced. You cannot give it to another person to do for you. It is 100% you. It's your mindset, your commitment, and an investment in yourself. I'm going to say this again. You cannot develop a brand in 3 or 4 months. It takes a good little while. And when you really need it and you haven't done it, it's too late. So you either pay now, you sacrifice a little bit of time now, or you pay for it later when you need to stand out and you simply can't. It is not a once-off thing. It's every day, in every way, whether you're actively working on it or not. Whether if you've got nothing to show because you haven't done anything, that is speaking about you. If you've got lots to show, that is a shocker of a thing to see. That is your brand. But if you've been every day considered it and you've actively worked on it, then you are developing a brand. You're not leaving it to chance. Branding is never, never done. I can tell you from experience, last year, I was less consistent than I've been in the past 16 years, and I felt it. I got less clients approaching me. My network grew much slower, and my post engagement dropped significantly. It was my own fault because I didn't do it every day. I lacked the consistency, and I felt it in my business and personally. And it's your authentic you. It's you reflected to the world. And remember, online, it's 24/7. Billions of people have access to you. So if you're looking for a way to kind of be seen, you are being seen. The question is, do I want to see you? Because there's that phrase, that saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I don't agree with that. For me, it's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's who knows you and what you do. Because if I don't know you, I ain't speaking to you. So that is that. Thank you, guys. There is my QR code. You can follow me on LinkedIn. My team and I post a lot of content that helps. Sometimes I share a lot of graduate positions and bursary opportunities. So you are welcome to follow me. I cannot connect with anybody directly. I am tapped out on my LinkedIn connections. I can only be followed or follow you back. So if you send me an invite, I'm not ignoring you. Maybe I am if you don't give me anything to see, but I literally cannot connect with people anymore. I'm tapped out. So yeah. Right. I saw there was another hand up. Sakile, are we good for another few minutes, or am I saying we are quits now?
We can take a couple of questions. It's okay.
Okay. All right. Can I stop sharing? Everybody got what they need? Righty. Hands. MZ. I don't know what order it came up in, but anyway. Yes. Shoot.
Yes, ma'am. I just wanted to thank you for this webinar. It's been a good one. I've learned a lot. Like I was checking the example that you made of that LinkedIn lady. That's exactly me because I merged my business and myself, thinking my own personal reputation will rub off to my small business that I'm trying to grow. So now I know that I'm still kind of confused because I do believe that my own reputation can rub off to my business because people, through knowing my all that I've achieved, can go and look at what I am doing on the side. And thank you for referencing Coke, which has been a brand that we know for such a long time. And knowing that through their consistency, even though Pepsi does come along, because I did see some of competitors coming through, people who are doing what I do, I got frightened. But looking at Coke, Coke has never been frightened of Pepsi or the other brand that you did showcase. So that taught me a lot that I should be consistent and know that even though other brands can come through, but I should maintain a good work ethic and also being able to connect with my target market. So this has been such a good webinar. It has helped me a lot, and thank you so much.
You're welcome. Just remember that you can share your company's posts on your personal feed, and you can share your personal posts from your company's feed if you really want to, if they're connected, but they still can stay two separate entities. So thank you for that. Pleasure. Right. I think the first person was QJ. I can't see who the name is, so you're welcome to unmute.
Oh, sorry to disturb you, QJ. Can you just close your mic? Sorry, just 1 second. Oh, Mrs. Winter, I think you just gained yourself a follow-up. There's a lady on B level who wants your LinkedIn profile. They want to follow.
You want my LinkedIn profile? Okay, let me quickly go and pull it off for you. Give me 2 seconds. Well, right, is there another question while I'm quickly pulling up my own LinkedIn?
First of all, ma'am, I'd like to thank you for this webinar that we had today. We truly learned a lot from you today. I also just wanted to share my personal experience about the consistency part. I'm doing applications development in TUT, but then I have a side hustle that I've been doing for more than 2 years now. I'm a retail trader, and I saw what you were saying about the consistency because, well, I was losing at the trading game, but as you mentioned, that consistency is the rule of everything. So I saw that even though I'm not as profitable as yet, but I'm at break even. And I just wanted to share that for people who want to stand out, there's nothing really special about standing out. It's just being confident and saying the things that other people don't know about you and let them know what the special things you have that others don't.
That is very true. I want to say to you that in our market, there is a magic kind of space for startups. Break even is a milestone. It is something to celebrate.
Yes, ma'am.
Use
Thank
it,
you.
and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Right. The last hand I see, MZ. Hand, You've put your hand up, but you're unmuted. Okay, last question, Ntando Nkosi.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Miss Winter. So I just also want to say that on top of you answering that question I had earlier on in the beginning of the workshop, I just want to say this was, even though I had challenges, especially about the mic, but in spite of the challenges, I did learn so much about personal branding because I do believe that this is the second workshop about personal branding. There was a workshop last year which I couldn't attend because of other commitments, but I'm glad that I was able to get this one. In spite of the challenges, I did learn so much, and I see where I'm lacking now. In terms of standing out, it's inconsistent. It's in being consistent. So when you answered that question, it made me see where I am, where I need to improve. So this was a very fruitful workshop, and I hope and wish that the advancement in alumni relations unit and the recruiters care organize another workshop for us that focuses on personal branding because it's very important. It's part of our job searching process. Thank you.
So you are very lucky to be a part of a university who's deeply invested in their students. So we run numerous topics every single semester for the entire year. So if you've missed one, you can catch up on another, but we've kind of integrated all of them so that they feed into each other so that you get a full picture by the end of your year. So you can really say thank you to the alumni division because they have made sure that you guys get the extra support that you guys need. So yeah, these are running consistently.
No, yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm very lucky to be part of DUT, and the alumni relations is doing a really good job. And also you guys at Recruiters Care. So as you say, I wish that you will have another workshop on this topic. It was a very it's a very good topic, and this was a very good session.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate the feedback.
Oh, to add on that, thank you so much, Thunder and Kosi, on behalf of the Alumni Relations Unit. Such were heartwarming words you just shared. Well, we'll be having more sessions. We're going to share more links with you guys. We're having a lot of sessions, as Mrs. Winter has said. So there will be more sessions. Just guaranteed. We're going to have more sessions with different topics. So yeah.
Awesome. Then we're good. Thank you, guys. And again, well done to you that have come out this early on in the academic year. You should be patting yourselves on the back. All the best. Good luck, guys.
Thank you so much, Keita.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Electron straight. Eish. Chat. Hey, and ayikho mfana. Ayisecurely. Ayikho la kuma-chats i-Transcript. Intate beyikhuluma. Yo. Laba bavela yade bengakho yini? Athi ngibhekade bekhona. Isalingo. Q shares waseklasini la. Okay, ke kade khona. Ngibheka unganginikeza le mpahla le. Like ukuthi ade kukhulunywa ngani. 150 abantu ade bekhona. Ulungelo Mthembu. Ngoba ifoni ngiyifake kahle e-charge-ini ngiyifaka ngalesa sikhathi. Eish. And ayikho nje into ukuthi ngithinte ifoni mhlawumbe kube ngithintile ukuthi